What is up, everybody? Captain Matt here. April's right around the corner. Crabbing season's about to start, and my boat is nowhere near ready to get into the water. So let's get busy. So first on my list today is fuel injectors. I was having some problems last year, coming off idle at low RPMs, was stuttering, changed all sorts of fuel filters. There's the inline bowl filter, the spin-on canister water separator, and then there's a little high pressure filter in this motor. It's a Yamaha 250. Nothing seemed to work. Tried fuel cleaners. So over the winter, I sent my fuel injectors out to get them tested and flowed. So it turned out I had one bad injector and the rest needed cleaning. So let's get those put back on. So here are my fuel injectors. These are the before and after readings. I'm not sure how bad they were outside of the bad injector, but they do look like the numbers went up, which is good. They'll have to do a little research and figure out what all these numbers mean. This is the company that did it. I did not take them there. The shop I used sent them out to this place. Free plug to them. So here's the numbers. Here's all my old injectors. Got new O-rings installed. Guess he left the old O-rings in the bag. One, two, three. Looks like one of the O-rings, and this is the new injector. With O-rings. I'll figure out where this big one came off from. One, two, looks like they all have their O-rings. This must be just a leftover. All right. I feel like they've been greased as well. Put a little extra on there. All right, well, the fuel injectors are back in, fairly straightforward. Struggled a little bit here and there. I forgot actually how I took them all apart. It's been a few weeks, but let's get the batteries back in and see if this thing fires up and got any fuel leaks. That'll have to do for now. Everything's in, secured, greased up, tightened down. The strap that holds the battery in place is just a cheap piece of strapping that came with the boat. I'll have to find something better later, but it'll work. On to the next side. Well, the battery's all hooked up. Time to turn it on, and before we actually try to start it, we need to turn the engine on, let the fuel pump pressurize the rails and ensure that we don't have any fuel leaks. Let's do that next. All right, well, that was successful. The way I winterized it, it was the first time I winterized the engine myself. So things when you need to winterize your boat, most importantly is fuel and the motor itself. So you want to make sure that all your fuel is treated, doesn't get stale, doesn't gunk up your lines over the winter. And then second part is making sure your engine is fogged. So the shop where I take my boat when I need help, I want them to do something. What they use is a mixture of aircraft fuel, aviation fuel, so it's high octane, none of the ethanol and crap that's in the normal gas you get at the pump. Said mix that with some mystery marble oil. Don't know why, just said just a splash. But when I went to winterize, they were out of aviation fuel. They were going to sell me. So what the second thing that they recommended was going to Home Depot, Lowe's, getting the two-stroke fuel that you can buy there for like a lawnmower, weed whacker, that is ethanol free. The reason they used two-stroke, so when you hook it up to the motor, it sucks in the oil, and the oil, as it goes through the intake and into the cylinders, it coats everything with oil. So I did that, and that's probably why that big puff of smoke came out. When I winterized, I changed all the motor oil, gear case oil, all the filters. I do have a little video from when I winterized it and how I hooked it up. So to winterize it, step one was to disconnect the fuel lines at the fuel filter underneath the cowling near the engine. I think I went to AutoZone, got a piece of fuel hose with a built-in bulb. Hook that up to the fuel filter, hook the other end into a gas can that I had the mixture of two-stroke gas that I got at Home Depot with a little splash of mystery marble oil, pumped it up, ran the engine. My shop recommended to run it 15, 20, 25 minutes. They said as soon as you can kind of start smelling a little oily smell coming out of the exhaust, you're good. So I ran for another 5 minutes, then cut it off, and that was it. Fixed. I did a lot of maintenance last year, changed water pumps, spark plugs, did all the basic maintenance. I have a small leak in the lower unit. The water, or the gear case oil gets a little watery after a while. I think the lower seal is fine. I think it's the upper seal, because when I replaced the water pump, it made a huge difference. It's still not 100%. I don't think I'm going to tackle that now, but I was having problems with my overheating alarm going off. Now, when I changed the water pump, the alarms went away. But I also, during that troubleshooting process, I wanted to get to the thermostats. I had bought the thermostats, but I never changed them, so I have them, so let's get them done. All right, so there's two thermostats on these motors. This is F250. One's right here, one's on the opposite side. So let's get taking this apart, get access to the thermostat. From the outside, it doesn't look too bad. Again, I'm just doing this as a precautionary. I put about 500-600 hours on it last year, so now it's up to 1,000 hours, and I'm sure it's overdue. Oh, there it is. Doesn't look too bad. A little buildup, a little corrosion, but overall, it could be a lot worse. Again, like in the Middle Bay, where I usually boat, occasionally I go out in the Delaware Bay, Rehoboth Bay, very salty in those, Delaware Bay, obviously very far south. But where we crab, it's more brackish than it is saltwater. Typically the bigger crabs go in more the brackish water, so it's in between very salty and fresh water. One thing I just noticed that until I closed this down, this was stuck in the open position, which is not good. The spring here should, as the temperature pushes against it, should open and close based off the water temperature. So maybe this one was going bad, getting bad. But here you can see the two different, clean, nice, dirty, old. Pop this back in. Now it already has a gasket in it. I was wondering if, like a car, did I need a gasket for the cover? It appears I do not. There's not one shown on the parts list either. So I'm going to pop this in. Try to make sure it gets nice and clean. Make sure the surfaces are clean. Let's put her back together. All right, one side done, one to go. Little self-injury, but popped out. She's definitely a little corroded, a little dirty. Definitely worn in there. This one seemed to has a lot more corrosion built up on the inside. Well, I'm not bleeding yet, so let me get this cleaned out. So in summary, the changing these thermostats wasn't overly difficult. Shout out to Born Again Boating. They have some great videos. They happen to cover Yamaha quite often. I use them as a reference to do this work, and it's just like you said. I'll put a link down in the description to his website and the videos. In case you have a Yamaha and want to do any of this kind of repairs and work maintenance yourself. Like I said, there's two on each side. Both sides are pretty similar. Port side here is a little bit easier to work on. All I had to do is take off the cam sensor connector, undo the thermostat connector and kind of push that up and out of the way, take out the two 10mm bolts, and I could slide the housing away, get access. It was a little tight trying to get in there and clean, but there wasn't that much dirt in the back. Button it back up, same side. Starboard side was about the same, except for I had to take this bracket off and disconnect the fuel hose. The fuel hose here is in a different position over there. Same. Now I know how to do it. It'd probably take me 10 minutes to do it. Going forward, hopefully I don't have to do these very often. All right, everybody, that's gonna be a wrap for today's video. We covered fuel injectors, we covered thermostats, we talked about winterization. Still have a long list of things to get done before my boat's gonna be ready to get out in the water. Some electrical work. I know I need to get my horns fixed. I want to run some USB outlets so I can run my cameras while I'm crabbing to make it easier. Obviously crabbing takes a lot of time and you're usually constantly working and going. There's not going to be a lot of time to film, so I'm just going to set up some cameras in the boat and try to record the content. I just need some outlets so I can not worry about batteries. Got my bilges I got to put back together from the winterization process, keep them from freezing. Also want to get some of my through-hole fittings replaced. They're plastic. I don't know if they've been replaced. Grady's, older Grady's are notorious with the plastic fittings cracking, cause massive leaks unexpectedly. Could ruin my day, lose my boat. That's not a good thing, so I need to get that taken care of. One other quick thing I'd just like to say is this video wasn't super close up, super detailed. I try to add in all the notes of what you need to know. Typically, if I'm trying to tackle something myself, I'm going to do some research, watch some videos, do some searches. Hopefully I find something that fits and try to tackle it myself. If that's the case and I find something that's great out there, I'm going to give them credit. I'm going to post a link. There's no need for me to recreate the wheel. If I'm trying to get something done and I can't find anything great, then I'll try to record it in more detail, more close-ups, to create something that fits what I need. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this content. Please hit that like and subscribe button. If you have any comments, anything else you'd like to see, please leave a comment below. Till next time, stay healthy, be safe. I'll catch you later.